Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let me know if you have any problem hearing me. I am trying a new set of headphones and hopefully they work as good as the laptop. So, welcome guys, welcome back to the Lapeef Network. I am Ameera, in case you don't know me or haven't heard of me. And I have a quick live stream that I want to get done and over with, I guess. There has been, if any of you guys know, there has been talk about certain things regarding my views. So I want to address all of those right now. And let's bury this hatchet forever, for good. Finito. Khalas. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So thank you guys. Thank you, Destined for Greatness. Thank you, Toja. Thank you, Creations, Vicious, Dreadhead. Hi. And Brittany. I want to say welcome. And like I said, this is going to be kind of a kind of tenuous stream. Is that the right word, guys? Tenuous, whatever. You understand what I'm saying. So I am a bit nervous, a little bit shy, because, you know, these are kind of subjects where I have to find the right words because, you know, sometimes because English is not my first language, sometimes I don't say the perfect word and people get up in arms about it. So I'm going to try to take my time and say the proper words that everyone can understand. And I don't care if you're PC. I am not politically correct. If you get offended easily, maybe, you know, find another stream to go to, because this is not going to be a politically correct stream. Okay, so let's begin. So I want to give you guys some background. I am a conservative. I'm a conservative. I live a conservative lifestyle. I am conservative politically. I'm conservative with almost everything about me. I'm just a conservative person. So when you hear me speak, or if I have certain views, I want you to kind of remember my background as a conservative person, that, you know, maybe I will see things differently than a lot of people. In America today, everyone is very much sensitive. Everything is sensitive. You can't say anything about certain groups, or you have to use the proper words. And even the words are changing to the point where the word that was okay 2 years ago now is upsetting and offensive. So I want you to just keep that in your mind, that I am a conservative. And I have seen comments asking, why does Ameera talk about the BC? The BC being the Black community. She shouldn't have any right to speak on it. She's not a Black girl. She shouldn't speak. Well, I want to address that. And on the Lapeef Network, I make it my purpose to not speak about the Black community. I'm not speaking about, let me take this off. Maybe, is that better? So there's no glare. I'm not speaking about the Black community. When I'm speaking about Eastern versus Western culture. I do understand that a lot of people don't see it that way, because a lot of people, I've seen comments saying that I was saying this about the Black community, or saying that the Black community has to get it together and this community is right, which is completely untrue. If you go back to the videos, you will see that I specifically said Western culture, the American culture that I live in, that I can see just looking around. I can go outside and see Western culture. I mean, it's not a secret, guys. So when I'm speaking about that, I'm speaking about the West in general, because I don't think that this is a white or Black problem. I think this is an American Western issue, and it affects certain groups more than others. So that's that. Now, getting into the things that I want to address. I have my list here, so if I am looking down, that's why. So, hi, Larry. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Mr. Ray. Rila. Hi, Rila. Hi, 404. Hi, Rael. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Young Jay. Oh my God, Young Jay. Hi. I haven't seen you forever. Hi, Zen Master. Okay. I know, I'm so ADD. I look up and I'm like, hi. All right. Back to it. Ameera said that Black people are the most racist people. Here we go. So, yes, but that is only part of it. I said, because I was talking, now I went back in this live stream because I didn't know where people were getting this phrase from precisely. I knew I had said it, but I didn't remember exactly where, what conversation that was in. So I went back and I saw, and I was speaking about, so politically, there has been this narrative going around saying that certain people cannot be racist. They're saying, like, you know, if you're from a certain group, you can't be racist. And on that stream, I said, no, that's absurd. Anyone can be racist. I was like, well, they said Black people cannot be racist. And I said, well, that's not true. I said, well, in my view, I've seen that Asians and Black people have been the most racist people. This is regarding like colorism, intolerance of others, and certain words that if anyone else were to say, they would get in trouble. But if I've noticed that in America, if a Black person says it, it's not a problem. But if a white person were to say the same exact thing, they would be called racist. So that's what I was speaking on. And mostly that's political. It's mostly political, like if you say like Candace Owens and Larry Elder, sometimes they say certain things. And yeah, so that's what I was talking about there. And also in my experience, because like I said, I did go to school in New York, I had an experience and I saw this with my own eyes, how certain things were said that if other communities were to say the same thing, the exact same words, it would be extremely racist. But it wasn't like that for the Black community. Oh, and also Asians. And when I say Asians, I don't mean just Chinese. I mean Indians, Pakistanis, Japanese, Koreans, everybody, because I've noticed that they have like a really high intolerance for people a different skin tone. If you're darker there, that's why a lot of people are bleaching themselves in Asia. If you guys haven't seen it, it's absurd. Like the colorism is insane. That like I believe that in the Asian community, the colorism is more extreme than any other community, because even in India, they have the caste system, and some of the caste system also goes by skin tone. So like if you're darker, you are seen as not beautiful, even though the girl could be completely more beautiful than the lighter skinned girl. It doesn't matter. Just because her skin is dark, they will consider her unbeautiful. Is that a word? They will consider her ugly, even though even her face and everything, she's more pretty than the light skinned girl. It doesn't matter. That's just the way it is. And I think it's pathetic. So yeah. Ameera said Obama shouldn't have been president and that Blacks are slow. See, if we're going to say what I say, I would just prefer if we can just at least say the exact thing that I said and not like word it in a way where it sounds worse. I said, because I'm conservative, that Obama should have never been president. And there were many reasons for that, because I think, now this is just my opinion, I think Obama was a pathetic president. I think he was an awful president. And yeah, you can say, well, you know, other presidents weren't that good either, possibly, but Obama was one of the worst that I've seen. So I didn't like Obama, and that's no secret. Everyone knows that I didn't like Obama. And as for me saying the second part, saying that Blacks are slow, I said, is America too slow? I said, so the thing that I was thinking about was I was thinking mostly about Black Lives Matter and how Black Lives Matter was created under Obama. So this is a reason why I thought I connected to the two like this. Like, we got our first Black president, well, semi-Black, not really Black, kind of. We got our first minority president. And then right then in that moment, we ended up having the creation of Black Lives Matter. So I thought it was really strange that why did we need Black Lives Matter, especially at that time? You know what I mean? Because I noticed that before Obama, I didn't see as much of this tension between the races. I didn't see it happen until Obama became president. Then I saw that the tensions between the races in the United States got worse. So, I mean, anyone, you know, maybe other people see it differently, but that's what I saw. So that's what I said. Ameera said that if you don't like what Columbus did, then go back to Africa and live in a hut. Okay. I made a video speaking about the Native Americans. So there was this, I was speaking about how a lot of people say that this land was stolen from the Native Americans. That has been the narrative for a very long time. Everyone says that. But what I mentioned was the fact that back in those times, if you had great land, if you had land that was highly desired, you also had to have an army to defend said land. You could not just say, well, here's my flag, this is my land, please don't come touch it because I've already claimed it. People will fight you for your land back then. And that's something that everyone knows. People, that's how so many countries and such got conquered, and people, they didn't care about this, it's mine, you can't touch it. They didn't care back in those days. So what I saw was a group of people who lived here on this land and weren't able to defend it. Now, could that be, it could be unfair. Maybe it was unfair, which I don't deny. It could have been unfair. Maybe the Europeans had better technology or, used tactics. It could happen. But the honest truth is that there was a war for this land and the natives lost. So that's what I had pointed out in the video. And as for the go back to Africa and live in a hut, I didn't say go back to Africa. I said, if you think that America is so bad and you hate it because it was that people went to war, that we went to war for the land, then find yourself a hut and go back to Africa, or not go back to Africa, go to Africa and live in a hut. So I guess when I said that, some people are offended because I said Africa. I don't know. That's not a racist thing. That wasn't anything towards race of a person. Everyone knows that when you think about huts in the middle of nowhere, you think about the Sahara, you think about the desert, you think about the savannah. That's what I thought about. Could it be offensive? Possibly. And yeah, I guess maybe I could have used better words, but that's just what I thought about when I thought about like living out in the middle of nowhere. That's what I thought. So yeah, it could be offensive to say it that way, but that has nothing to do with race. Just because it's in Africa doesn't have anything to do with race. Anyway, Ameera said she didn't know the word abid. Oh, okay. This one is good. So this actually, when this was being brought up, the word abid, I had never heard it in my life. I haven't. And I know people are going to say, yeah, you knew it. You don't know what I know. So the word that we use, the proper Arabic way to say this word is abd. So abd means slave. I had never known anyone say abid. I never heard that word before. So that same night, I called my family and I said, what is abid? And they said, that's like the plural way to say abd. So abd is one, abid is many. I didn't know that. So forgive me for not knowing the plural way to say that. But that word is not in my vocabulary. I don't say this word. And never once in my whole entire life have I ever seen an Arab look to a black man. We go to the masjid. There's plenty of black people everywhere. There's plenty of black Muslims. Never in my life have I heard an Arab man say, hey, look, there's a slave. Never. So, I mean, everybody has different experience, I guess. If this is what someone else has heard, fine. But I have never in my life called a black man a slave. And neither have I heard anyone else in my family, in my surroundings. Never once have we said, oh, look, slave. It just, I don't, okay, well, whatever. So, I mean, I didn't understand getting criticized for not knowing how to say the plural of slave and how that made me racist somehow. So that's that. So now you guys know the proper way to say slave is abd. So you have to use the back of your throat like ah. So it's abd. So yeah, I didn't know how to say the plural, which is I learned is abid. So Ameera doesn't have to work. I don't have to work. I don't have to work because my husband, like you guys know, my husband is I don't know. He's doing well. So I don't have to work. but I started working for my husband, and in the past 6 months, I started working for him. And when we first got married, I was still trying to work a little bit. As you guys know, I used to be a paralegal, so I was still doing my paralegal work. And after, I want to say 9 months or so into our marriage, my husband told me to quit my job. So I was obedient and I quit. And I was a housewife for the next 3 years. And then recently, in the last 6 months, I began working for my husband because I saw that there was a need, and I did want to work, but I didn't want to go back to the law firms and working for someone else. This is something that even Kevin Samuels had mentioned, and he was talking about how it's, you know, it's better anyway. And my mother used to do it anyway from my father. So I just said, you know, I'm going to work for my husband. So I started working for my husband. And it's been great. Let me tell you, any wives out there, if you have your husband and you have a business, work for your husband. This is the best job I've ever had. It's, I don't know, it's so much more. It doesn't feel like work per se. It's like you bringing up the family, you know, being supportive of your husband and actually showing with duty and every day showing your husband that you're there. It's the best work I've ever done. The Taliban, so-called my people, took over Afghanistan. So this is quite upsetting because the Taliban has nothing to do with me. The Taliban exists mostly in Afghanistan. I am not Afghani. I am Lebanese. So we have no connection to the Taliban. So bringing that up when speaking about me, if you're speaking about me and you start speaking about the Taliban, it just, it doesn't work out very well. Give me one moment, guys. My husband is texting me. I'm sorry. Okay. Next. Ameera said that Black History Month shouldn't exist. Right. I did say, the conversation was, I said that Black History Month, if Black History Month exists, then for equality's sake, we should have a White History Month. And if we don't want to have that happen, well, when I said that, there was another argument. Someone else said, well, you don't need a White History Month when White history is taught all year round. So I said, well, if that's the case, then teach Black History Month all year round. But we don't need, if we're going to have a month for one, we should have a month for everyone. It's equality. So that's the Black History Month argument. So the argument is, if we have for Black History Month, we should have a White History Month, Latino History Month, Asian History Month. And if we don't want to do that, then if we're going to teach White History Month all year round, then Black History Month should be taught all year round. Asian History Month should be taught all year round. All of that should be taught all year round. So that was my argument. I just want things to be more fair and equal. One minute. People saying I married my husband because of his money and I wasn't open about my marriage. So I've seen this spoken about, saying that I only married my husband because of money. I don't like to, this is the reason why I don't like to get into this, because then it looks like, I don't like to look like I'm bragging. I swear to you guys, I'm not bragging at all. But you guys have to understand, before I met my husband, do you guys think that I was like living on the street or I was in squalor or something? I come from a wealthy family. I did not need my husband's money. My husband's money it was nice to know that he had like a good work ethic. My father saw something in my husband that he told to me. And that is something that's intimate between us. He was talking about my husband's work ethic and that this man was going somewhere. He's going places. So for certain questions to be brought up and to make it seem like I was just this money hungry girl, I just found someone who was just rich, and no, my husband wasn't a millionaire when we got married. Yes, he was doing very well off. Okay, he's fat for a reason. My husband, oh my God, he's gonna get mad. My husband's a big guy, but no, my husband was very well off even when I met him, and my family is well off. So if you understood where I'm coming from and you understood my lifestyle, you understood, I don't know, a lot of people, I just don't think that you can see things the way I see it. A lot of people see it from the outside and think, oh, well, that's the only reason that she got married. No. And the fact that I mentioned it, I just wanted you guys to kind of try to understand. But it seems like people judge so harshly. They judge me so harshly and judge, like, I don't know. I just feel like people think that I was just like this poor thing and I had no money and I just needed someone to latch onto, like a parasite. I wasn't. I'm wealthy too. I don't need my husband's money. So, and I wasn't open about my marriage. I want you guys to understand. I haven't seen many Muslim girls so open, right? Like as I am with you all. I haven't even spoke about these things on my own channel, but I have been more forthcoming on the Lapeef Network because I thought that it can help push the conversation. It can help the conversation and help what we're trying to talk about. I don't, typically, we don't speak about these things. And if I were to follow how how normally I am, very private, I wouldn't have even told you anything. So to say that I'm not being open about my marriage with you all, I have been open enough. But certain things you must understand. My husband, I'm not going to expose my husband more than, he's comfortable. This man is a very hardworking man. He is very private. I'm not going to, and I understand some questions may come that you guys may be interested in, but if I say I can't answer it, it's because I can't, or I'm not comfortable with it. And that should be respected. I shouldn't be expected to just blah everything out. I'm not going to do that. And I have been doing my best to be comfortable and to be open here because I think it's important. I think it's important for the conversation. But everybody has their boundaries, and I think they should be respected. Can a Black man go to the Middle East and marry a Muslim woman? I already answered that, and I said, yes, but he has to be Muslim. He has to be Muslim. There's no way that a Black man as a Christian, unless he's going to find a Christian Arab woman, that's different. But if you want a Muslim woman, you have to be Muslim. No Muslim woman is going to marry you as a Christian man. It just doesn't happen. So you must be Muslim. And I've noticed that a lot of people are pushing back on that and kind of saying, well, that's not true. And it's like, I have seen it. It happens. It does happen. And I think a lot of people don't understand that in the Middle East, it's not so much racism. It's more like tribalism and religion. We are very, very particular about religion and how the tribes are, we're very tribal. So when you're talking about a person who is Black, Asian, white, what have you, you must conform to the culture and the religion if you ever want to be in our tribe. The skin color is not as important as it is in America. It seems like America is more focused on that. It's not about skin tone for us, because if you've ever been to the Middle East, there are pale white, redhead Arabs, and there are dark skin, really dark Arabs as well. We have the whole rainbow in the Middle East as well. So to use that kind of American, I don't know, like colorist kind of thing, it doesn't work for us as much for us because we're very much religious and tribal people. Ameera doesn't cover her hair. I don't cover my hair, but I used to. I did. And that's between me and God. Like, that's my decision between me and my faith, me and my deen, and me and my husband. So those kind of things, like for a person to try to criticize my own religion because I won't cover my hair, I'm a very modest woman. I'm very modest. I go outside with my booty hanging out or my chichis out. I don't do that. I'm, like I said, okay, just because I don't have my hair covered, it doesn't mean that I'm not modest. I'm very much modest. And honestly, I have thought about, considered going back to covering my hair like I used to. I have considered it as well. But, that's something that's within me. That's between me and God. And, and there is no scripture in the Quran that says that a woman has to actually cover her hair. It's more of a cultural thing. But this is what we do. This is what we typically do. In the Quran, it says that we must cover our bosom and be modest. And that's what I do. So, yeah. I also saw that people were, when speaking about me, they were playing some kind of a sound bite of a man yelling Allahu Akbar, as if some kind of a terrorist call. I want you to understand that for Muslims and people in the Middle East, Allahu Akbar does not mean anything bad, and it's not a cry for jihad. Allahu Akbar just means God is greater. And we say Allahu Akbar when something good happens, or even if something bad happens. We just remind ourselves that God is in control and God is greater. But I know that Americans, when you hear Allahu Akbar, you guys start running for cover. That we don't see it that way. When you say Allahu Akbar, it doesn't mean something bad, and it doesn't mean that you have to run and get under something as soon as you can. It's a reminder of sorts. And people, a baby is born, you say Allahu Akbar. You get a raise at work, Allahu Akbar. Somebody maybe died in your family, Allahu Akbar. Because God is greater. So, do Arabs make more money than black men? I don't know. I don't know about that here in the United States. I did say yes the first time we brought it up, but I think the difference is that Middle Easterners, when we get money, we save our money more. I think we save a lot. So, and especially because a lot of us live together, we buy big houses and the family will live together. So it may seem that we have more money just because we tend to keep our money all together. Maybe that's why it seems like we're more wealthy, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. And I'm curious to see about that as well. I just think it's because we handle our money in a certain way, in a certain fashion as a family. Instead of every person living alone, we tend to just buy huge houses and the whole family can be together and save money. So, Dem Detox says, I heard a Muslim design who always says Alhamdulillah. What does that mean? Alhamdulillah means thank God. Thank God. So I want to open the call lines. We can have a chat. If anybody wants to call in and chat with me about this, feel free. And anyway, yeah, Alhamdulillah, it just means thank God. So like the same thing like Allahu Akbar, if anything good happens, we say Alhamdulillah. Even when a Muslim wakes up in the morning, you say Alhamdulillah because you have woken up to see another day. So, and we also say Alhamdulillah after eating. So before we eat, we say Bismillah, Bismillah. That means in the name of God, I'm eating. And then at the end, when you finish eating, you say Alhamdulillah, which means thank you for feeding me. So it just means thank you. Thank you, God. So, yeah, that's that. I hope all of the issues have been addressed here. And yeah, like I said, calling me racist, I already knew that I would be called racist anyway. Like, this is not a surprise. This is actually very typical. Any network I go to, typically if they disagree with me, instead of disagreeing about the point, they'll typically just start calling me racist. So this was actually expected. I wasn't surprised when this whole oh, she's racist came out, because I'm like, yeah, I think most conservatives are used to being called racist anyway. So it's like anytime that I'm just not politically correct, and I never will be. I'm not politically correct, and I know that it can be offensive. I know that maybe some things are not soft for sensitive ears, for me to say. I just don't want to. I can't please everyone, and I know I'm going to say things that one person may think is fine and the other person may be offended. So I'd just rather just say what I mean and mean what I say, rather than trying to please the ears of the modern, sensitive American. I just say it as it is, and if they are offended, well, then so be it. But, everyone has different experiences, and to expect that everyone is going to think the same way as you is just not possible. And of course, I'm not Black, so I'm not going to be maybe the most pro-Black person. It's not that I'm not anti or anything. I'm not anti, but I may not see things the same way as another person because of that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But to go as far as to say that I'm racist for that, it just doesn't stick, because everyone who knows me knows that I'm not. So that's that. Hi, Cuban.
Hi, Ameera. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, don't feel too bad or hurt about this. Every immigrant that notices the truth and says it out loud goes through this. Um, I'm a Black Cuban. We had slavery, like the Black slavery, like everybody else in the West did, and but we're different. Just like the islanders are different, just like the Africans are different. And then if you want to go with the dark Indians that come from India and
Yeah.
the dark Brazilians, and then everybody that comes here, they have an idea about America,
True.
but then they see what is happening to the Black community here, and they see how they act, and we can tell, like the Asians can tell as well. Everybody can tell that something is not right.
Yeah.
And it's not systemic because we're dark, sometimes even darker. Haitians, no, sometimes even darker than the Black people here, but they say, oh no, systemic racism this, racism that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's excuses. It really is. I don't blame them too much nowadays, because I've learned that like the Cubans who were, brainwashed for a long time and still are today, they are also brainwashed. And, it's that split between Booker T. Washington and Du Bois. That's what happened. Booker T was all about, working hard, getting an education, learning how to eat, how to speak proper, and, just get out of the mud, practical skills. Du Bois literally said that, socialism is what's going to free the Black people all over the world.
Well, you noticed that a lot of Cubans. I'm sorry, I just needed to jump in for a second. I didn't see you gonna stop.
Yeah.
So, have you noticed that the majority of Cubans are completely against socialism, and a lot of them are stepping up and coming out as more conservative in this country because they don't want to see America turn into what Fidel Castro did over there.
Exactly. Well, you have a great accent when you say Fidel Castro. You speak Spanish, right?
Claro que sí. Vivía en Colombia. Yo antes vivía en Colombia. Vivía en Bogotá.
They have the best Spanish. Oh, that's
they
awesome.
Do. Yeah.
The Cuban community, the based ones, because there are some Cubans that live in Canada and in Europe, and they're like, social democrats as well. They want kind of like the same socialism, but like nicer, with things, with computers and internet and all the other things, and iPhones, right?
Yeah, but that's not what it's going to turn into. I really thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no
thank
problem.
You so much for it. Thank you. See, I tell you guys, Cubans are not for the socialism life. It's going to turn into. I really thank you so much for it. Thank you. Hi, Sarita.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There's something on. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay. Hi. Is it better? Hi. I don't know. What do I do? Oh, this
Maybe-
sucks. Oh, I got it. I'm good. Hey,
Okay.
Ameera.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't think you're a racist, but I have to
Thank
ask.
God. Thank God I have one. I got one.
I mean, because there's just some things people don't know. So, like when you were saying about Black History Month, how come everyone doesn't have a month? Did you know that most people do have a month? Like, so February's Black History.
No, I know.
April
I know
is
that.
era.
I know that all the minorities have.
Yeah.
I know all minorities have a month, but there was the argument that white people don't have a month too, and the argument was that white history is taught all year round. I said, well, if that's the case, then teach Black history all year round. What's stopping us from doing that? There's nothing stopping us from doing the same thing.
I think it's just time, honestly, and I am an educator, and for us to teach everything about every culture, there's not enough time. So unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, whatever, it's just the way things are. The way that this country was created from Europeans, that's the history we go off of, and that's just what it is. Even me, I went to school for music. I'm a musician. I know what people say about musicians, whatever. But we play a lot of music from white composers. There are other ethnicities that create music, but we focus on old white men. Why? It's getting better, but it just takes time. And you can even take ethnicity out of it and just go off of gender. It's still men. Women write music, but we don't really get into it that much. Same with women writers. I don't know. America isn't that old as a country, and we have a lot of room to grow. And, a lot of people like to say, well, civil rights, it's 2021. Civil rights movement really wasn't that long ago. My mother remembers it. Mm-hmm. She's just one generation before me, and she was there. So we just can't be so dismissive about other people's feelings and things that they've experienced growing up. And then especially if you live in certain parts of the United States of America, like the South, things are a little bit slower here. I'll introduce my sister to the song Strange Fruit from Billie Holiday. Have you ever heard of that song?
No.
You should listen to it. She was told not to sing that song about lynching. And if she did, she would go to jail. And she went to jail several times because of a song that was talking about things that are going on in the world. And I asked my sister, I said, it's 2021. Is lynching still going on? Should we be concerned about that song anymore? She said it still happens. So yes, we've come a long way, but we're not there yet to be so dismissive, I guess. If that makes
dismissive of what?
Other people's feelings and concerns. That's
Which
all.
Feelings and concerns?
Whatever people have. The reason why people call you racist, because I don't want to say, maybe sometimes things can come off a lot one-sided. And yeah, someone just said turn on camera. My camera's not on.
Your camera is on. I thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is my first time calling in. Some of the things, your views, they're a little bit different, but I mean, everyone has their opinion. What's right, what's wrong, who knows? It's just whatever, people are dealing with their own experiences, What works for you may not work for someone in South Carolina. I don't know. Or someplace in the South or someplace in the Midwest where there's not a lot of minorities. It's really different. But I'm glad that you are open to hearing other people's opinions.
Very much so.
Yeah, there are lots of heritage months for everyone. And white history is always taught. So that's why they don't have their own month, because it's always taught. And the other
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm sorry if that helps.
But no, you're fine. That's good. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That was sweet. Hi, Truth Teller.
Hi, Ameera. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
I did have one quick question for you first. Why are people saying that you are racist? Was there a phrase or term used or something you said?
Well, the whole video, if you go back in the beginning of the video, I laid out all the accusations. So it's.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm aware of the accusations, but I'm saying, are the accusations based in some truth? Could what you have said be seen as racist?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's why I laid it out in the beginning of the video. You can tell me if you think that they were racist or not.
I don't know if I want to go down that route. I do want to maybe give you some helpful information
Sure.
about racism.
Okay.
Just like the gentleman just before the last caller came on, he's from Cuba. He came on the line, and some of the things he said could be seen as racist towards Black Americans. We do have a lot of foreign-born Black folks who come here and make assumptions about what Black people in America have experienced without researching the history, without learning what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know there's been Black communities completely wiped out in the last 60 years by the United States government.
Wait, what do you mean by wiped out? Do you mean like bombed?
Bombed. Philadelphia was bombed. There was a Black area in Philadelphia where they literally dropped napalm on a housing complex because they thought the Black people. Because they thought the Black people might be a threat to the government. Problem is, they never made any threats to the government. There's been multiple Black cities and communities that have been wiped out. In some cases, they've been. I know you've had to hear some of them in the past. Bunch in the Midwest. Look up Bruce Beach in California.
Yeah, yes, I know about like mining and Black Wall Street that went on. I know about like certain things,
but the problem is most people don't realize there's been hundreds of those that have occurred in our history. So people make comments.
I've never denied that.
No, I'm not saying you denied it. What I'm saying is people from other countries, Black people of minority origins will come here and make statements about Black people here in America and not understand what's happening.
Statement?
Just like that gentleman that was just on from Cuba when he said, people come over here and they see the truth and they know the truth, and when they try to speak it, they might get backlash from Black people here. That's literally him downplaying what our experience has been, what we've seen, what actions have been taken against us, because he may not know, but he's assuming because, we see the truth because we come over here and we're the same color as you, but they don't treat you guys the same as us. So to make that assumption, honestly, that was very offensive to me, because for you to make that statement means you understand nothing about our history and who we are. I just think that if you're going to make comments about a community, you should probably do some research about them first.
Do you think that he didn't do any research about?
He probably didn't. He just assumed that he knew the same thing from his country. My experience here is I'm from here, born and raised. My family's descendants of slaves from this country. I've met Cubans in South Florida that argued with me saying that they weren't Black, and they were 5 times darker than me. So when he made that statement saying Cubans know that they're Black, that's recent. That's not something that's been happening for the last 30 years. That's very recent. A lot of Cubans here did not acknowledge they were Black. A lot of Dominicans didn't do it. A lot of Puerto Ricans didn't do it. They didn't acknowledge it. They will tell you, I am not Black, I am Puerto Rican, I am not Black, I'm Dominican, and they will fight and argue with you to make that point. So I think, you have to be wary of when you talk to people who aren't from this country, what their perspective and their family's perspective and what their country's history is towards Black people, before you can really take their information with without a grain of salt. That's all. Be careful.
All right. Thank you, Drew.
Have a good night. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I didn't think of it that way. I mean, that you can have like different experience. I mean, of course, anybody can have a different experience. I understand, but when you think about the Cubans' plight, they're come here, and I just don't know if people. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I just think about like if you have people who look the exact same, would they get the same treatment because they look the exact same, no matter if one is from Cuba or one is from Philadelphia? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Rila! Hi, Rila. And I see Shantae is here. Hi, Shantae. Thank you, Destined for Greatness. Thank you so much. And let me see. Three Rivers says, no, he doesn't know any troop. I mean, I understood what he was saying. I did understand what he was saying. But let me see. I'm just reading your comments for a second, guys. Oh my God, Black Superman is here. Hi, Black Superman. So basically, I guess what I wanted to ask you all was, do you think, and I want anyone to call in if you can, just let me know what you all think about what I'm saying to you. Is it understood? Do you guys kind of get where I'm trying to say? Or do you still think that I'm just a hateful bigot? You know, I'm just curious to know what you all think, because I have no reason to hate anyone. And even if I do say things that maybe seem offensive to some, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to hurt anyone with what I say. So I am curious to know your opinions. And Jessica says that I am a racist bigot. Thanks. That's nice. Hybrid says, right, but I think he means Black American. Okay, guys, hold on one second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna be right back, guys. 1 minute. Hey guys, sorry about that. I wanna see if we can get everybody on camera before they come on, because I want to be able to see you. Hi, Hyra. Hi, Hyra. Okay. Hi, Joshua.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Joshua.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Can you hear me good?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? So I noticed something that you were pretty much talking about, racism and, how come Black people can achieve just like other groups. Is that what you were saying?
No. I didn't say anything about that.
Oh, okay. I must have been, because that Cuban guy was talking some fly stuff about, Black America. So I was wondering if that was the topic of discussion, because I came in type late. So can you brief me on what was going on, because I came in kind of late?
Okay, sure. The conversation was about a few things that were brought up, about things that I have said about certain things, like political things, and some people feeling like what I was saying is insensitive to the Black community or other communities. So I was speaking about those things and addressing them.
Oh, okay. Like, once again, can you give me, like, say, a synopsis of like one or two things you might have said, so we can have a better understanding of, of this misunderstanding?
I spoke about everything in the beginning of the video. I mean, it's just too much to really. It's a lot. It's like a long list of
Yeah,
things.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make you go through a list of what you said. I just like one or two points, if you could make mention of it, because I came in fairly late and I'm subscribed to you guys, and I like you guys' conversation.
Okay. Sure. Let's see. One of the points is, let's see, that Obama shouldn't have been president. I said that Obama shouldn't have been president because I thought he
Okay,
was
so
a
why?
pathetic president.
Okay, so why was he a pathetic president to you?
Just his policies and just how he was just too soft. And too soft and also too violent in the Middle East. So there's a lot of things. Thank you guys. I'm sorry about that, guys. Sometimes, I don't know, like a person calls in and it's like, I don't know. Hi, Meek.
Hi, good evening, Ameera. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you.
I'm actually shocked that I got in here so fast. Here's the thing, right? I don't believe that you're racist. I believe that there's just a lot of miseducation that happens about foundational Black Americans. And, if the scale tilts constantly one way and you've heard, most of your life these things about a people, then, you may tend to believe some of it, without actually doing the homework. But, America in general, I actually lived in Palestine, right? And when I came back to America and I heard like the narrative that they were pushing about how the whole Palestine and Israel thing, at that moment, I realized that everything's biased and pushed one way, that, the views are skewed towards the way they want you to believe. But I was actually boots on the ground seeing it, and things were not the way the media portrayed it. So I think that the media portrays things the way they want you to believe it. And after years of that, you just get the programming. And so you begin to think like, oh, okay, well, I've been seeing and hearing years of this, so this must be what it is. But actually, when you're there and you actually like see and live and understand what's going on, you get a completely different view.
True.
So, I don't believe that you're a racist. I just believe that some of the views that you may have heard as a child, as an adult coming up, is just a little misled. And that's probably the biggest thing that happens, because listen, in American media, like you can, it's such a divide, and they do it on purpose. Like I see it. They do it on purpose, the way they make you look at things, like even the way, they view us to look at Arabs, like the way they have us look at Arabs. It's unbelievable, because living in Palestine, I've known many Arabs, and I'm like, yeah, this is nothing like what the media showed us.
So what do you think? What do you think in particular that? I'm just curious. What do you think in particular that I have incorrect? What do you think that I have said that was wrong?
Well, here's the thing, right? You didn't necessarily say anything wrong. I just believe that like there's certain nuances that you miss, because it's not just cut and dry.
Can you give me an example?
So like I agree with you on like Obama's presidency. Like that's not like because he's Black or whatever. Like his presidency was weak, you know what I mean? Like some of it was right. Like he was smart to kind of stay out of other countries, because America should stay out of other countries. Like let them people, whatever country it is, let them people deal with what they deal with, because we have our issues here in America. But it's just certain things that I think like, you really gotta kind of do the homework. Again, right? Like I'm not accusing you of being racist because I don't believe that. Like, but all of us just kind of been programmed to see certain things, and we just take it on face value, and it's really not what it is. So
yeah, I mean, I just, my point to this live stream is I understand that what I say may be offensive to sensitive ears, but what I really want to know is where I was wrong. Because
well, I'm not
being
sensitive,
offensive
like,
is not a crime, but being wrong about something is something that I would like to correct. If I'm wrong about something, I just want it to be pointed out so that I can know that I was wrong. But what I'm seeing right now is that I see that people can be offended, which I can understand because I'm not a politically correct person and I don't try to use the best words to make people feel good, which is probably maybe is one of my faults, that I should speak more kindly, or maybe I should use different words. But with English not being my first language, sometimes I cannot find the proper politically correct word for sensitive American ears right now. So I just want to know, do you see anything that is wrong specifically that I've said that is factually incorrect?
I mean, I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't necessarily see anything wrong. And I agree with you when you say, like, the sensitive ears. Like I agree. Everyone's sensitive and like emotion. Well, isn't that, it's more so emotion. Everybody's living in too much emotion, and that's the real problem. And America has gotten to a point where like everything is overly emotional, and every little thing is something someone needs to go in a corner and cry about.
Right.
And I'm almost 40, so I grew up in a time in America where there was really none of that overly sensitive nonsense. So, like me, I could hear you say something and disagree, but I'm not like about to go in a corner and cry and be like, oh my God, she's a bigot. Like, okay, she said something, she may be misinformed, but like, I'm not gonna run in a corner and cry. But, listen, we live in a time where America's playing this whole thing because America is what America is. And I'm not going to get into detail on that because I've lived in this country my entire life outside of living in Palestine. And America does what America does. And I understand what they're doing. They've been doing it, and it'll continue to be done. But this whole overly sensitive thing, it's really not going to bode well for anyone, not even America.
I understand. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate your view.
No problem. You have a great evening and keep doing what you do. And I'm glad that Lapeef has brought you on to the network.
I'm glad to be here as well. Thank you so much, Meek.
All right. Good evening.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here too. I love being here. Like I said, even me being here has opened up my own eyes to a lot of things as well. It's like making me see things differently instead of just being so in my box and in my world. It makes me think about things differently. Assalamu alaikum, Abdul. Hello? And if you guys see his name is Abdul. Abdul. So Abdul is slave as well. His name means slave to God, slave of God. So even his name you guys can see. Abdul, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Welcome.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, there's a delay.
Hi.
Hi. Do you have anything on the topic?
I just have one simple comment.
Yes.
We have to remember. Yes, we have to remember that, English is a tricky language, a very tricky language. And to call somebody a racist is a very incorrect thing to say. If we remember what we were taught in school, to be a racist is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. To be a racist means that you're proficient in the study of race. just like a geologist. The IST at the end of any English word is called a suffix, and it denotes a proficiency in a particular area of study. So if you're proficient in this area of geology, then you're a geologist. If you're proficient in the area of science, then you're a scientist. Well, if you're proficient in the area of race, then you're a racist.
I see.
You're not, but to be called a bigot is different. You are not a bigot because you're not hateful. You didn't say anything hateful, so you're not a bigot. So don't let no one call you a racist. Racist does not exist. It's a trick word.
Understand. Thank you. Thank you for that. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. This is you have to remember, like you said, this is a cancel culture.
I understand. Thank you so much, Abdul. Thank you. Hello, Ego.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. Do you have anything on the topic?
I think what you're doing wrong is, the thing is, you can be politically correct, right? That's cool. And what you're trying to do actually now, from what I see, is try to position yourself to be more politically correct. So that they can, pretty much that they can have their way. And they're still not learning. And it's like everybody misses the lesson the more politically correct that you go. Now understand you're not of the same culture as the space that you're coming into.
Yeah.
But they do have to get pushback for the things that they're pushing back on you about. And I understand you have to go along to get along because you're part of the squad. But at the same time, they're missing fundamental lessons on things. And it's like how they go to the channel. And see, the thing is, when our culture hears a lot of stuff that's really conservative based, they've been taught for so long that all of those values are racist. And it's not even about that. You know what I'm saying? Because there are Black conservatives. And fundamentally, Black people are conservative. They just don't take it like that because they've been taught to be Democrat or, liberal for so long. So I think the thing is, don't worry about the racist thing because it'll bring attention for your channel or whatever it is. People will talk. So, and people are still going to talk anyway because they just don't want anybody from outside the culture to talk about anything. But I think the thing is to continue to push back on them. And then when you do have those private one-on-one conversations, they'll understand like, no, this is not coming from a place of hate or me trying to cause confusion. Like, this is just my view and y'all have to understand this.
Right.
So, that's just my view. That's how I move. But honestly, like the conversation got to be had.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to, I'm sorry. It's just kind of hard for me to get this conversation and kind of explain to people that no, like if you look at my channel, you can understand me, listen to me with an open mind. Don't think this way. Don't put your mind in this position because when you have that in your head, that's all you're going to see. Like if you think everything is racist, everything I say is going to seem racist to you. So That's why I'm like, I just want to be heard in a way that you can understand me and try to hear me and not just listen to me, just actually, So yeah, sorry.
I really think, and like we all know what it is because I wouldn't say I'm conservative, but I have a lot of fundamental like I said, it's simple to see that some of these quote unquote conservative ideas are like, hey, no, that's okay. But I just think even people going to your channel, they come in with the wrong mindset because as soon as they hear things like Trump, like any acceptance of Trump is like, oh no, I don't care. Everything is wrong.
Correct.
And even like with, the Obama talk just now, like there can be no real conversations with certain people in our culture about if Obama did a good job or not, because to them, it doesn't matter. He's an icon and he's not meant to be talked about. And I think the fundamental conversation really should be, was he a good president? you know, and let's not talk about who,
The
because
tweets, the tweeting, and
right, because when you start making them an icon, you start being able to make excuses for them, you know, and these politicians, they're not our friend. It doesn't matter who. It could be your cousin being a president.
yeah,
He's gonna have to do something to go against you.
yeah.
And like I said, I just feel like I know it's hard, and I know you're not the type of person to keep pushing back against a person, which is why it's good you have your own channel.
Yeah.
But they really need some pushback, you know.
I just don't know if I'm the right person because I'm not good at. I'm just not, like you said, I'm not good at going back and forth like that, and I just tend to just say, okay, fine, that's what you think. Okay, that's fine, because I'm willing to accept that we don't have the same views. I'm willing to accept it and say, okay, that's fine. I don't need to call you names or try to insinuate something about you because you're not agreeing with me and my experiences. So
yeah, I think Anton does a great job. So it's like, man, to me, both of y'all are a breath of fresh air, and just some
yeah, I
balance.
love Anton.
Yeah, just some balance, because I see it in him, and even him, he watches how he speaks, because he won't mention but everything that I hear that he says is fundamental to how, I just find like a similarity in what we talk about,
Do you have your
So
own channel, Ego?
yeah, I actually do. So it's He Goes Way, and I talk about family values as well, and family structure, and I'll continue to do that because even that is lost, and even the way I talk about that is in a conservative way, and I'm just getting started, but trust me, it's a wave of us that need to be here and need to stand strong. So I'm with
Thank
you.
you so much, Ego. Thank you. Keep up the fight.
All right.
Thank you. Somebody said that they stubbed their toe this morning and they blame me because I'm racist. What?
That's what they
What is
do.
that? What? Somebody wrote that in the comment. Wait, who
Yeah.
said that? Oh, let me see. Jonathan said that. Jonathan, you can't blame me for stubbing your toe. Hi, Mr. Roosevelt. Welcome.
Hello, Ameera. What's
Hi,
up,
Mr.
JR?
Roosevelt.
I'm a long-time listener. I listen to all of the shows on the Lapeef Network, and I am a foundational Black American, which means that my lineage on both sides is from this country. I'm from South Carolina. We could take you on a tour to South Carolina and the millions of slaves that were brought in through Charleston, and we can show you a lot of sites where there were horrible things that happened in the past that shape the way that a lot of white Americans look at us today because they're dealing with white guilt. So how do you get rid of white guilt? What you do is you put out a premise of the people that are from this land that they're no good, right? I have African friends who have told me personally that when they come to this land, they tell them to stay away from us. They tell them to live apart from us. Even though they have the same blood in their veins, they don't live amongst us because of what they perceive of our community. And I've been going back and forth with coming on the platform to speak my piece on this because it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'll get to the point. I think where you're wrong at is you regurgitate some of the white talking points that we as Black Americans hear a lot of the times. For a matter of fact, saying Black History Month, that we should do away with that. I've heard that all my life from white racist hicks down here in the South. That's what white racist hicks say here, and it permeates to the immigrants when you guys come here. And you guys pick up on that talking point, but don't realize that it's coming from a group of people that don't want Black Americans to rise to the occasion to really make our own type of civilization here, make our own type of businesses. Every time we tried it historically, we were knocked down. And a lot of times I know in the chat, they'll say, oh, it's the victim Olympics. It's the victim Olympics, victim Olympics. It's not about that. It's not about complaining about our, how should I say, our condition now. We're just trying to let people know about our history in this country with these people. And I think that you use a lot of their talking points.
So wait,
I don't know.
just really quickly, can I respond a little bit? So you said that my view that if we have a Black History Month, then we should have a White History Month.
Right.
That is wait. So I wasn't trying to say that we should just throw away Black History Month. I was just saying that if we have equality in the country, that we should have a White History Month, Asian History Month, every else. And if white history is taught all year round, then Black History Month should be taught all year round as well. That's what I said. So do you think that that's a white talking point?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm born and raised. I'm from this country. My family's from this country all the way through. You understand?
That Black History Month should be taught all year round.
No. Much should be done away with. It. We should do other races too. Why do Black people get our own? Right. Let me tell you why Black history is prominent in America. Okay. It's prominent. There was a time in our country where we didn't get acknowledged for the things that we did for this country. Mm-hmm. What I want you to do, I want you to look up Black inventors. I want you to look up everything that my people contributed to this country, from ironing board, from stoplights. The first open heart surgery was done by an FBA Black man.
And the light bulb.
You want to talk about the light bulb? Thank you. A lot of people give Edison, but there was a brother, I forget the brother's name, but he created the filament in the light bulb that created the light bulb. He doesn't get
and the cell phones.
And the cell phones and home security systems by a Black American woman. The first car company, Patterson Car Company, that was up north. That was before Tom Ford made the actual Model T. There's so much things did. Well, peep this. I even tell you this. In slavery times, if a slave created something, he didn't get credit for it. His master got credit for it. And there was a lot of cover of Black genius. So what I'm saying is our people here in America, yes, we have challenges. There's every group in the world that has challenges. I know in your country, in Lebanon, they have their challenges as well. But I think it's really disingenuous, and I don't care what nobody says, I think it's real disingenuous to come on a platform that's mostly Black and tell us that we shouldn't be the only ones having a month when you don't really.
I didn't say that to this platform. That was on my own. That was just on my own channel, speaking to my people on my channel. I've never come on this platform and said to everyone that we shouldn't have a Black History Month.
Somebody else up real quick, and I know that's Brother Anton. What's up? Salute to you. But real quick, I want to ask you this: what did you mean by the comment of you had said something that I wanted to ask you about? Comment. I forget. I'll go ahead and let Anton speak. Go ahead, brother.
Hi, Anton.
Hey, what's going on, Ameera? Roosevelt. I respect your opinion, but I'm just curious. Why do you want to be acknowledged so bad?
As far as what, being a Black American?
Yeah. Why do you want Ameera, for example, to acknowledge you so bad? Why is that so important to you?
Well, because that's a great question, Anton. I think historically, when you go into other heritage or other ethnic group space, you have to respect their space, right? I'm not Muslim. I don't come from Lebanon, but I can't go into Lebanon circles disrespecting Lebanon cultures.
Do you think I'm disrespecting you guys?
Hold on, Ameera. But I'm wondering, okay, my question is, what does that do for you? And then what?
What does what do for me?
If she don't acknowledge you, she do acknowledge you, then what? Does that change whether or not you're going to do what you're going to do on a daily basis? Does it change your opinion? Does it mean anything? Why is it so important? And I think that you are a representation as far as what it is that you're communicating, right? You are a representation of a similar mindset that I see amongst a lot of people. I call it, I seen you mention it, the victim Olympics.
Right.
Why do you need to feel good about yourself in order to continue to do what you do? Why do you need anybody to acknowledge you at all? What does that mean for you?
Well, if we're going to speak logically in that terms, you don't need it. But what I'm saying is respect is respect. And you know well as I know, there's cultures that don't take disrespect of their culture. Like, for instance, where I live in South Carolina, we have a growing Hispanic group. And they have certain parts of town where they dominate. And they put their cultural markers up to let you know this is where we're from. You understand?
But now you're basing what it is that you do based off of what somebody else is doing. You're not supporting your argument based off of anything that you're giving me, based off of what you think. You looking at everybody else and saying, but they doing it and they doing it. I don't base what it is that I do off of everybody else. So I'm asking you to support your argument based off of why you feel like you need to be acknowledged when it comes to other people talking about anything.
Well, I mean, the topic of the conversation, Brother Anton, the topic of the conversation is Ameera racist? And she went down a list of different things that people have, accused her of. So what I'm saying is, like the brother truth teller that called in earlier, there is a severe lack of education when it comes to foundational Black American history. Like my friend that's from Kenya, you know, from the Kikuyu tribe, he'll tell you everything that you see over there is hip hop, booty this, booty that. And I got grandparents that have a wonderful legacy on both sides, landowners. These people built homes. These people were strong people who overcame the odds. You know, my grandfather told my auntie before he died, we worked too damn hard to get this land. Y'all don't let the land go to waste. Don't let nobody.
Doesn't have to do with being acknowledged by other people. Listen. I'm very clear on what my question is. I'm wondering why you need validation from somebody else. I don't care about what happened in Kenya. Respectfully, the conversation is not based off of what your grandparents is doing or whatever, or what the land they own or whatever. I'm asking you, Roosevelt, at whatever age you are, why do you need validation from other people?
I'm 33 years of age, and I don't need validation. What do you mean by me needing validation?
Why do you need to be acknowledged? Whenever you're forcing somebody to acknowledge anything, that's looking for validation.
My fault, I overtalked you. But what I'm saying is, you said me personally. Why do I need to be acknowledged? I don't know what you mean by me personally being acknowledged. What do you mean?
You just communicated for well over 10 minutes your point about the importance of Ameera moving a specific way when it is that she comes on this platform.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm not. What I'm saying is, in this space, in my opinion, I shouldn't even have to say this. I feel like my people dominate this platform, and what I mean,
people,
Black Americans, Black people that live in this culture, that you know.
But again, I hear a lot of people say Black people is not a monolith. What if I don't align with the fact that of the color of my skin, and I align based off of the fact that I want to rock with somebody's character?
I've heard you say that a lot, Ensign, and I respect that. That's your personal choice. But me personally, I'm a brother who likes to stay on code because other groups stay on code. You know what I mean?
Again, you just made my argument again. You're doing something. You just admitted it, that you're doing it because everybody else is doing it and not because it means anything to you specifically. You just said out of your mouth for the second time, the only reason you doing it is because other groups is doing it. And so I'm trying to understand why you need validation from other people based off of the words that came out of your mouth.
Why did I need validation? I don't understand what you mean. I'm not saying me personally needs validating for anything. Because me, honestly, I'm a guy that plays the background. I don't need validation.
You just said it, bro. You just said that I do things because other groups do things. I'm staying on code because other groups stay on code. Why do you need validation based off of what somebody else is doing?
No, sir. I don't need validation, sir. I never said that, Anton. I don't know what you're trying to do as far as spin my words, but sir, I'm not communicating very clearly.
I'm not spinning your words. Okay, the validation aspect of me is me evaluating what it is that you said. But you said I do things and I stay on code because other groups stay on code. Why do you give a piss and care about what everybody else is doing and letting that color what it is that you're going to do going forward?
Right. Look, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm trying to validate the point, going back to the question, is Ameera racist? And what I'm saying is, just like that Caribbean dude came on earlier, oh, yeah, we're seeing some things going on with Black Americans that are appearing to be true. That's so ignorant. And we see a lot of those people that look like us, because I agree with you saying, Anton, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But my thing is, I'm not going to let somebody, operate out of ignorance, even though it may be innocent. I'm going to call it out as well.
Okay, I mean, I respectfully disagree with you. I still don't feel like you actually answered the question.
Because again, I feel like you want me to answer the question in the way that you want me to answer it. But what I'm saying is, personally, I don't need validation, sir. I don't need validation from anybody.
Okay, so why do you continue to mention other groups when you're trying to make your point?
No, that's an example. That's an example. What I'm saying is, other groups don't allow.
You said, I'm sorry. You said I do it because other groups do it. You didn't use them as an example.
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed.
Hold on. You validated your actions based off of somebody else. That's not an example. That's you moving based off of how somebody else is dictating your narrative.
No, that's not true, sir. That's not my viewpoint. That's your viewpoint that you want to impose upon me, respectfully. But that's not my viewpoint. I use other groups as an example. I'm not saying that I'm doing anything based off with anybody else. I'm an educated brother. I read for myself. Matter of fact,
I can tell you're educated. I'm not questioning your ability to be able to communicate and be educated. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about at all.
There's a book by Dr. Claude Anderson that I read. It's a Black reader. Please, Ameera, get this book. because it's 101 questions that you never thought to ask about Black American history. It lines up everything that you need to know about our culture. Look, I understand what Brother Anton is saying, that this is their platform. All I'm saying is, I don't know if you're a racist. I don't know you personally, but I do hear things that are misinformed. And I hear other groups that are immigrants that come on this platform and they try to big you up on that because they have a disdain for foundational Black Americans themselves. So yeah, they're going to be a cheerleader for it in the comments and everything because they have disdain for us. So if you truly want to understand FBA lineage or FBA culture or what we came from and why we look the way we do in certain parts of this country, it will behoove you to look at our master scholars, Dr. John Henry Clark, Yosef Ben Yakinen, Kaba Kiawam. It's so many brothers and sisters that you can look to get more information on our culture.
So let me ask you a question based off of what it is that you said.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
What if she says, no, I'm not interested? And I'm not speaking for Ameera. I'm speaking hypothetically, right?
Yep.
What if she says, no, that doesn't interest me. I don't want to study that. Does it make her experiences or what it is that she contributes to the platform any less valid?
No, she would just be another person who wants to rely on ignorance. And you just discard those people. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just like in the street. If you see someone acting ignorantly, old man used to tell me, from afar, it looks like two fools arguing. You never get in an argument with a fool. So if I give you a chance to enlighten yourself and you choose not to enlighten yourself, that's a choice that you made to remain ignorant. At that point, then I remove myself.
Okay. I mean, again, I respectfully disagree. I appreciate you for even having this dialogue and this conversation. But I'm always curious when I see somebody, and I wanted to talk to you specifically simply because it seemed like you would be able to communicate your position effectively, and you have. I do respectfully disagree, but I rock with you, and I appreciate you for having a conversation with me, fam.
Man, Anton, salute to you, brother. I've been watching y'all platform for a long time. I'm not going nowhere, but I just wanted to say my piece on this. And like real men, we can respectfully disagree.
Absolutely.
Problem with that.
All right.
Luke.
Man, I guess I got to hold it down till Ameera gets back.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
What's going on? How you feel, baby girl?
I'm all right, Anton. I just, like I said, I wanted to open a conversation because I wanted to find out, is there something specific that I'm wrong in, and not just opinion? Because, opinions, everybody has a different opinion on things. And yes, it can be offensive, but to call me the R word or the B word, bigot, it's like, am I really that, or is it just that you don't like my opinion?
I think it's, to a larger extent, most people don't really like your opinion. And ironically enough, we all judge each other. Like from the outset, I think that we all regularly judge each other, and that usually, like whether we want to admit it or not, we all judgmental. And I evaluate people based off of certain things that they say for certain characteristics, so on and so forth. But you jumping on the platform at all and being able to have the conversation very much impact people, and it, to a larger extent, I hate this word, it triggers people. It makes people feel a certain type of way. But I just want to say that don't be influenced and don't be impacted by, take people's opinions into consideration. Absolutely.
I am.
Have the conversation and be willing to pull people up. But don't let people bully you into believing or feeling a certain type of way just based off of the fact that they feel it and not that it's actual real logic or it makes sense in their mind. And you're smart. I know you're smart enough to do that, but just make sure you stand on what it is that you believe based off of real logic, and whatever new information that somebody presents to you, it's okay to be even open to the possibility that you're wrong or you can evolve, but don't go based off of bullying. Don't let nobody bullying. I got your back. We got your back. You'll be absolutely fine. Okay.
Thank you, Anton.
All right, babe.
Trey.
What's going on, Ameera?
Hey, nice to see you finally. I've actually never seen your face. I've only seen your dog, your puppy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you got to go way back in my videos to see me camming up. But it's good to finally come up here, see face to face. Hopefully one of these days you'll be able to come over to the channel. But
really?
I just had to come up.
Thank you so much. What do you think about this topic?
Well, first of all, of course, you're not racist. And second of all, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. I've never thought that I was racist at all. Offensive, yes, but racist, no.
Yeah, well, I have offensive, like Yeah, I've got that down. I pissed so many people off. But here's the deal. First thing, just 2 points I just wanted to talk to you about. The first is what you said about working for your husband. And I speak a lot about that over my channel, saying, you know what, as a man, you have to be able to hold it down 100%. And you have to have a woman who will, if something happens to you, pick up the slack and hold it down. But just for everyday sake, as a man, if your wife wants to work, she doesn't want to work, it is what it is. You got to be able to hold it down. My wife doesn't work just like you. She works for me and my business, and life couldn't be better. Everything is working out spectacular. But I catch crap for that because my wife is Dominican, and people try to say up and down she's black. Dominicans, no, she's as white as can be as far as Dominicans go. And I'm like, no, they're not. But she has people my complexion in her family, and nobody plays that game. And they've been over here since the 60s, and they haven't had these problems.
Isn't it crazy how? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Isn't it crazy how, like, in other countries, especially like I used to live in Latino America, I used to live in South America, and they had every color of the rainbow there, and everybody was the same ethnicity or nationality. So all of them were Colombian, but there was every color in the rainbow, and there wasn't like, yeah, they can be like a little bit like judgmental or colorist, because even in South America, they even say like the lighter skin, they have it. The term is mejorando la raza. You speak Spanish?
Yeah, sí, hablo español.
Oh, okay. So, like, el dicho es mejorando la raza. They always say, like, tienes que mejorar la raza. Si tienes piel morena, tienes que casarte con un hombre blanco para que, you get lighter skin. So
they call it DR, preserving the race. Had to listen to it from mi suegra, my mother-in-law.
Your suegra?
Yeah, she, was that way until, her daughter got with me. And now, she's, because here's the problem. And this is the second part. A lot of people are calling in and saying, no, Ameera's racist, this, that, and the other, because you're calling out exactly what, shout out to Anton, when he says the celebrated parts of Black culture are trash. And they are. And for what happens is, people like my mother-in-law, she moved to the U.S. straight to the, Manhattan, Washington Heights. And for the most part, 90% of the Black folks, FBA, whatever you want to call themselves,
Wait, what does FBA mean?
Foundational Black American. I don't associate with it. I'm not included. My mom's Jamaican. My dad's a, brother from Mississippi, so I'm not included in that. But all my mother-in-law has seen, for the most part, all her life, is people, as Black folks, acting a complete fool up in Manhattan. That's what she saw. So, and then on TV, how are Black men portrayed on TV? Even Black women portrayed on TV. And then she meets me, and automatically the stereotype is already in her mind. But through me, she was able to see something different. So that's the change. But here's the deal. As a Black person in America, if you agree with how you're portrayed around the world, or if you don't want nobody else speaking on it, you're part of the problem. I don't fault you for speaking on it. I speak on it daily in my videos, and I'm just as hated as you.
God, that sounds so horrible. I'm just as hated as you. Thank you. Thanks, Trey. Thanks a lot.
Well, when it comes to, our views on MAGA, 45, it's hard for a lot of people to understand, because a lot of people actually believe that 45 is racist. The Proud Boys, are a white supremacist group.
Oh my God. I'm just like, people don't take time to even look or do any research. It's like, all you have to do is put one simple Google search. Who started the Proud Boys, or who is the captain of the Proud Boys? I mean, not who started it, but who is the, captain?
Yeah.
It's a Cuban man who's, but.
Yeah, free Enrique. That's all
free
I gotta
Enrique.
Say. Free Enrique.
Definitely.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like somebody said in the chat, I know, Black people and Dominicans in New York City carry themselves the same way. No, they don't. Because, my in-laws and her family move a whole lot differently. And a lot of them moved out the city to get away from the bad parts of their culture. They didn't want to be, around the bad parts of the culture. And here's the thing. And what I noticed from, being, married to a Dominican woman, they separate the bad from the good. Quick, fast, and hurry. It's not that, okay, if a Dominican dude does something to get in trouble, say like, they OD and, end up getting shot, when they're out committing a crime, all Dominicans are going to say is toma. mean,
Toma.
you get what you get.
You got what you got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, oh man, wow, but he was black. They didn't have to do him like that. But he was back in 8th grade, he was an honor. No.
Yeah.
You went out there, you committed a crime, you end up something happening to you. It is what it is. Let's celebrate, the best and the brightest. Let's put them on a pedestal. Let the criminals, let the chips fall where they may. But when you align off of skin color, and it's my last thing, I'm out of here. My wife is sitting there proud of me. It's for the last 2 days asking me, why do black men speak from the victimhood Olympic perspective? Don't they realize how they look to women? Like it's automatically you're put in a position of weakness. If you're leading with your color, or if you're leading that, we were slaves once, automatically you're saying, okay, I am, white supremacy, wink, wink, is superior to me.
No.
Yeah. So I just put it like this. If you're a man, just be stoic. If you can maintain your views on color, you can know, history. I call it the mythology. You can know your history. But when you go to people of other races, people that went through struggle, just like I know Lebanese people went through struggle. Shoot, I'm half Jamaican. You don't even want to know what my mom went through to get over here. And just from what I see, my mother-in-law went
Everyone's
to get over here.
been through something.
Yeah, the stuff they went through, and to bring her whole family over here and to see how her family is living back in Dominican Republic. No, I can't go to somebody of another culture, and say, oh man, we're oppressed. This, that, they're going to look at you like, what? Do you know what my people had to do to get over here? Keep that to yourselves. And that's all I got to say. But
I had someone like comment on my own channel. I was talking about something, I forget what it was, but the comment to me was, Ameera doesn't understand the plight of the American woman. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you're telling this to a Muslim, Middle Eastern girl. You're telling me that I don't understand the fight of the poor American woman here in the 21st century. Like, oh, goodness.
Yeah, and that's the last thing. I'm glad you said that. We're all American. And, to the caller, the guy who wanted Black History Month. Nah, everyone's history should be taught all year round. That division is, what's causing these problems in the U.S. now. Get rid of Black History Month.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, all those inventions that Black people did, cool. Let's celebrate them all year long.
All
and that
year
way
round.
We come together as one. Once you land in this country, you're American. Adopt those values. That's it.
And that's something I wanted to talk about too, just really quickly. I know you have to go, and I know we have another caller, but I just wanted to say the way that I see, like, even we talk about Black history. To me, Black history is American history. American history is Black history. And I know that there, a lot of people want the separation because you want to talk about only Black inventors, but that's part of America. Like, that's the story of America. America couldn't have its story without the Black story as well. So I think that it should be all together. I think we should, learn about it all year round if we're going to do it that way. But if we're going to separate it, that's what I said, then give everybody their month. Don't just leave people out.
Yeah,
but thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you. Come on over. I'll hit you up.
Thank you.
Take it
easy. Hey, that was a really good call. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Doing good. Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is my first time ever being on any type of live stream, so I'm just trying to make sure all my connection and everything is working.
Wow. Yeah, it's working fine. I hear you just fine. Right, what do you think about the topic?
I don't think you're racist at all. Most of my peers, I'm pretty hated for some of my views because I'm conservative too, or actually more libertarian, but lean right in a way.
Right.
I don't think you're racist. I don't think you're racist at all. I think a lot of people in this, a lot of people that look like me in this country have a tendency to try to, what I like to call, own oppression. Like we're the only people that have been oppressed, in the history of the world, and we haven't. It's kind of sad to see in 2021. And yes, I do acknowledge the fact that a lot of us in this country go through unique situations compared to other races. That is true. However, we don't own oppression, and everybody goes through oppression. I mean, there's North Korean slave girls right now. You got Chinese people buying North Korean slave girls right now that nobody talks about.
Yeah,
right now.
Humanity's
and nobody, and we act like we're the only ones that's enslaved. I mean, I'm walking around with a $1,000 phone in my hand right now, and all my homies in the hood got iPhones and stuff like that, and we talking about we're oppressed. And I just don't understand, why do we keep making ourselves victims in a country where you actually do have the opportunity to do what you want? Yes.
If you've been born in America, if you were born in America, you are
Mhm.
automatically a part of the top, I think 5 or 10% of the world just from being
Exactly.
born here. It's like
Exactly. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of, you know, the whole slavery thing and racism is a very touchy topic to us, but I think it's mostly it's a narrative that's driven to keep people. I like to say keep people mobilized. I mean, even the whole concept of the whole FBA and ADOS and things like that. Like, if we have to be completely honest, the triangle trade consisted of many different black people from many different parts of Africa that went to different countries before they even came to America. So we're all interconnected. You know, to try to, it's just, I just kind of find it hilarious that we kind of pick and choose what part of history that we want to, you know, raise and the other ones that we don't want to acknowledge. So I don't think you're racist. I look at the world as it is what it is. The only thing you can do is learn from your history and move forward and not let the same thing happen again. I mean, this whole, you know, on the Black platform, look, we're all using YouTube, which is a white platform. And if I want to be specific, more of a, you know, a Jew pretty much on the, you know, the ABC.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that word.
Yeah. And, you know, I see a lot of different races, you know, blacks, whites, everybody come over here, you know, saying disparaging things about each other. Like it doesn't matter what country you go to, you're going to face some sort of, if you're different from the population there, you're going to face some sort of pushback. You're going to face some sort of racism or some sort of, I don't want to say oppression per se, but I guess in some countries oppression. It doesn't matter where you go. It just all depends on your character, what you can do, how you move to get the best outcomes as possible. And I just wish that a lot of us want to hang on to this. I actually saw you that show when you said, you know, the huts and all that stuff. And I didn't think you said anything that was racist. It was just more so the truth. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to be super pro-black. I used to follow guys like Tariq Nasheed and, you know, Boyce Bacchus and all that stuff until I started becoming accountable for the things that I did in my life. You know, like, you know, when I lost my job a long time ago, I blamed it on white supremacy. When in actuality, I let the door open. I mean, I, you know, made a mistake that was able to, that cost me my job at the time. And it's just me holding myself accountable and understanding the moves that I make to actually move forward. I'm not oppressed. Are things fair? No, they're not fair. But there's always
life
a way
isn't
around
fair.
it.
Yeah, life is not
life
fair.
ain't fair. And it's not going to be fair anywhere I go. If I were to go to Poland or something, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to look at me weird because I'm a black guy, probably the only black guy in Poland. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. So I don't think you're racist at all. And I wouldn't be too concerned about anybody calling you racist or anything like that. I think the thing that bothers me most is just the hypocrisy about it. Like I saw that show when you was on
Chris, we have another caller, but let's just maybe start wrapping it up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
So what were you saying?
But
you can finish your last point if you want.
Just to keep it short, I don't think you're racist. Black people, we don't own oppression. We're not oppressed, and we can actually do great things in life if we just drop this whole oppression and just move forward. Learn how to work together as a community. Learn how to put things together as a community and move forward. That's it.
That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just be here and open, you know, like even if I am wrong about something, I want you to talk to me about it. Tell me where. Welcome, Abraham.
It's actually a double name. So can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I'm sorry, because I thought Ibrahim, you know, because like we call Ibrahim, but it's Abraham. Sorry.
Yeah. It's popular. Yeah. So a couple of things. Now, I really don't get into the whole these whole kind of topics that y'all get into with black, white, manosphere. Reason being is because, you know, I come from the thought process of if you handle your own thing, then you don't necessarily have to sit around and talk about it, right? I did listen to your show. I have been listening to the Lapeef Let's Talk. You know, the crazy thing about YouTube is that you type in Kevin Samuels and all of a sudden it thinks you're in the manosphere. So I'm getting a lot of these topics. So a couple of things I want to ask is, no, first, I don't think you're racist. However, I do have a gut revulsion to you talking about the Black community based on your own experiences, because have you been, it's kind of a generalization of something that is so large, right?
Wait, which one? Which statement in particular?
Right. So, and this is not necessarily a full quote, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
You talked about people thinking you're racist based on the word Black people are able to use where white people are not able to use. Correct?
No, I said if a white person said the same thing as a Black person, they would be called all kinds of names like racist, bigot. But if a Black person says it's looked over completely. They don't even care.
Gotcha. My only issue with that is, yes, that's kind of true.
Very true.
In a sense, yeah. But again, you're using that as a talking point to say that what we deal with as a community is something that's all in our mind, right?
Huh? Wait, what? I'm sorry. What did you say? You said it's all in your mind?
All in our mind.
How?
The whole victimhood Olympics thing.
No. I thought you were talking about what people say, and if white people said the same thing, they wouldn't be criticized at all. Or I'm sorry, if white people said the same thing, they would be criticized and called racist and bigot. But if a Black person says it, nothing happens, and it's completely looked over.
It all depends on where you're at, right? So if I'm on my job and I use the N word or the C word or
well, I wasn't speaking about that word.
So you're saying that if I'm in my own setting, in my own community, and I use the word the N word, and a white person uses the N word, then that white person will be ostracized?
No, that's not what I'm talking about, because the N word is its own issue, which I dare not touch because I have, that's not, what I'm talking about is this. If you've seen recently the left, I talk about the left because I'm a political person, but recently the left has come out with sayings like, there was a woman, I did a video on her, and she said this exact word. She said, us Black people, we have to act like we like white people, but we really don't. And we just tolerate them essentially. If we had the opportunity, she was saying some other things, but had a white person said the exact same thing, if a white person said, us white people, we just have to tolerate Black people, but we don't really like them, she would be called a racist, a bigot, and everything, and she would be dragged. But the Black lady, she said that, and everyone was like, oh. and I thought to myself, had this been reversed, this would be, you know what I mean? But because of the skin tone, it's okay. That's what I was pointing out.
But that's but that's not technically true. Depends on how much power you wield at the moment, gives you license to say anything you want, right?
No, she wasn't powerful at all.
The power at the moment, right? So if you're in the moment and everyone's ultra sensitive about Black issues, then yes, you can go out there and say some wild stuff about white people, right?
She said that in a group of white people. She said that to a room full of white people.
What was the moment that she was trying to discuss at that time? What was the moment?
What do you mean? She was just giving she was just talking about her experience about something, and that's what she said in her experience as well.
And what was her experience? Was her experience racism?
She said that hotels were racist because they didn't have the shampoo that was appropriate for her type of hair.
Gotcha. So at that moment, she had the power to say pretty much anything and get away with it because she's.
Do you think a white person could do that?
If you had the same power at that moment, look at the past president. The past president can say anything because he's the president.
He would have never said something about like that.
Yes,
come on.
Yes.
Did you hear what I said?
Stuff. And the only reason why he gets away with it is because he was the president.
No, I will not let you have that, sir. I will not let you have that.
It's not about having that. It's about the power that you wield at the moment. If we're talking about there is power in dealing with racism that we take from white people who are feeling guilty. at that moment, we are able to inflict that and say pretty much anything, as long as it's not wildly crazy, right?
So you're saying as long as the white people feel guilty, you're allowed to say anything you want, as long as they have guilt.
Exactly, because I have power over them at that moment.
Oh my God!
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
if I can make you feel guilty, I can say anything. I can say anything.
God.
Yeah.
I can't believe you said.
But if you look at the history, white people have been saying things about black people that everyone thought was okay. Only the reason why people were able to get away with it because at that moment they had the power of the mic. Now that power is changing, you're all of a sudden angry that black people are saying something that they've been feeling the whole time. We have the power to say it at this moment.
But you do understand that if that was turned around, it would be completely wrong.
I don't speak in ifs, right?
It's not an if.
No. In order for your argument to ring true, you have to create the reality for it to exist, right? You're saying based on what you feel. I believe that if a white woman said that she wouldn't get dragged, or she would get dragged. But did a white woman say that in your example, or is this something that you just believe and you making it that way? You see what I'm saying?
What? I appreciate your input. I really appreciate it.
No. Again, all I'm saying is you need to be careful what you say on what platforms, because right now I get it. Y'all all on that conservative shit. I don't have any bones against it. But I will say that you're coming off as racist. Even though I don't think you are, I just think you're uninformed.
Okay. Thank you so much for your views. Hello, Mr. Excellency. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Ameera. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. So the topic is, are you racist?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, personally, I do not know you, but I will say this. Do you understand that the dominant society classifies you as a white woman in the United States of America?
I understand that, but I do not classify myself as a white woman.
Okay, I understand, but the dominant society does. So when I look at you and I hear you talk, I would have to assume that, okay, you are a suspected white supremacist because of the rhetoric. But again, I do not know you, so I can't totally make that judgment about you. But just be careful, and make sure that you're doing the history on foundational Black Americans, because a lot of you're gonna hear a lot of immigrants call in, and they have a very distasteful and disrespect for the people who built this country that your family volunteered to come to. Your family, so you do understand that your family volunteered to come to one of the most racist and abusive places in the world, correct?
No.
Aside from all of the riches.
No, this is not the most racist or abusive country. Oh, but I wanted to ask.
Well, that could be debated, but I've traveled all around the world and still do. Yeah, still do. And I actually do not live in America anymore because of the abuse and the racism that I experienced in my 40 years of living in America. I made a lot of money in America, very successful in America, but that doesn't excuse the abuse and the white racist policies that America continues to create. And I'll just leave you with this. Make sure, do you agree with Joe Biden signing a resettlement bill giving Afghans $6.3 billion and not actually signing a bill to give the people who built the country that you all are standing on and making money in? Do you agree with that?
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about President Joe Biden.
Yeah.
President Joe Biden signed a bill that had $6.4 billion, represented in that bill for Afghani as resettlement. Do you agree with Afghanis receiving money who haven't worked a day in the United States of America versus the people who've been abused and oppressed the most in this country having received not 1 billion in funding for reparation to say that we apologize and we're sorry for what we've done to your ancestors?
You're saying that wait, I don't agree with Afghanis getting any money personally. I don't think that we should be supporting them in any way. So
yeah, that's the question I'm asking.
But you were saying that money should go where?
I was saying that money should go to Black Americans who are actually out here building communities and actually building businesses and building up their own nation. That's where the funds should be redirected to. But African Americans do not receive that type of income. As far as reparations, they say they have to do a study, but they didn't have to do a study to give Afghani $6 billion. So I'll leave it at that. But make sure
I hate Biden, by the way. I do hate.
Yeah, I understand. I'm very distasteful of Biden and the whole political system, but we have to participate in it. And so to that other gentleman who said about the he was Jamaican and from Mississippi, well, sir, that my family is from South Carolina and Virginia, and I can't go to Jamaica and open up any business or get any job. So they have built nothing for foundational Black American to want to even go there. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, good thing about America is that anyone can come here and open up a business, right? Hey, Black, your camera is so great. I feel so jealous. I look I look horrible on this side, and you look so great.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, just to make it quick, I don't believe you're racist. I think there's a term that a lot of people get kind of confused with. I don't know why my camera is acting like food today, but there's a term called white nationalist talking points, which that kind of triggers a lot of educated African Americans, right? So, first when you talk about, the obvious things like I don't agree with the Black History Month. You want it all year round, right?
If we're gonna teach White History Month all year round, then every history should be taught all year round.
Well, that goes into the line of white nationalist talking points, because essentially Black History Month was started because of a reaction to African Americans being emancipated from the slavery. Carter G. Woodson created it, and with Frederick Douglass. So they said, hey, our line was dead. So, like, for instance, my family's from South Carolina. They moved to Tennessee. I did my history, and our lines end at 1865 on the shores of South Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. So after that, we don't know Nigeria, any other place. So what they did was they said, hey, let's teach our current people who are in this country how they contributed to this country, because we're not all just slaves. So that was a reactionary thing. So when you say, oh, why don't we just teach it all year round? Yeah, that's implied that it should be taught all year round. But the fact of the matter is a reaction because there is a lack of history beyond 1865, or sometimes even further, closer to that. So, that's why I say it's just white nationalist talking points, because that's what usually those type of people say. I had got on Anton one time because he had implied something about the Black Panthers, and I was telling him, I'm like, yo, the Black Panthers are the most independent group. They're the most conservative group. They have conservative mind. They want to take care of their community. And he used the Black Panthers to further an agenda to say that most organizations created by Black people are lazy and they just want money from the government, which is not true.
Well, so I don't know much about the Black Panthers, but I do know that the Black Panthers did start like the WIC programs, I believe, the WIC programs like women, infant, children, the food food programs for the children. I know that they started something good, but I don't know what they're doing today.
They didn't start the governmental program. What happened was because the Black Panthers were doing it for themselves, the government was being embarrassed by the political gainment, and they created an imitation program on that. Okay. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that because we were actually doing, yeah, because we're actually doing it, they copied it. So we were never a part of the government. So
but what are they doing today?
What are they doing today? Essentially, the party that was there is pretty much dead. You know, there are remnants of it. You know, most of the former people are teachers, business owners, doctors, lawyers, various people of various backgrounds. You know, it was a political movement like any other movement. So like I said, I think, like I said, based on what you talk about sometimes, to the educated person, it sounds more of the same stuff that we hear from the white nationalist talking points. And I think sometimes the disconnect is the turnoff for a lot of us people who are educated in that. So we're like, hey man, what's going on? Like, why are we on this talking point? So I like I said, I love my conservative people. I talk and I argue with them all the time. We have great debates and we go out and do our things, and that's fine. But then there's a vein of racism that is almost kind of, you know, shaky, because like I said, you know, if you go, and this is going to be my last point. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like I'm rambling.
Oh, I'm enjoying.
Okay. So, you know, based on the New Deal, which was the 1964 Voting Act, right?
I know the New Deal.
Yeah, the New Deal. Based on the New Deal, the parties flipped, but to retain the power that the Republicans wanted, the Democrats wanted, they flipped to Republican, and they started to say the same thing. They just want your money. They just want this. It's a continuous line from Nixon to Reagan to, you know, to Trump.
You do understand that there was no party flip.
There was a party flip.
There were only a few people that switched over, and they called that the party flip. But in actuality, the Democrats are trying to cover their arses.
Well, when Martin Luther King flipped the voting, spectrum in Mississippi from like 3% to 12 to 18 up to 20% in Mississippi, it influxed a new growth of politicians and talking.
Well, yeah, but you understand that. Oh, well, anyway, that's a long story. I just don't see how they're saying how like a whole value system, like the whole value systems of the parties just switched completely, and the bad guys are now the good guys, and the good guys are now the bad guys. It's absurd, and anyone who believes it, I don't understand how you could believe it. But
if we can have, you're a smart girl. I like that. So we can talk all day about that. But like I said, it's a
long conversation.
Yeah, it's a long conversation. But essentially the argument is that there is a lineage of line of talking points in regards to relations with African Americans and their white talking points. So we're just battling that constantly, and then we hear it again, and it just gets crazy. So I apologize.
I know you're my last call, so I just want to finish with you, and I just want to ask you, how is it a white talking point if someone says that Black history should either be taught all year round or everyone should be given a month equal? How is that a white talking point?
Because it ignores historical context. It's basically saying, well, it's basically taking the argument like a crayon box. Well, you took this crayon out. Why don't you take the rest of the crayons out? And it's like, no, this specific crayon has a specific historical context that needs to be addressed. And the people addressed it.
So the other argument would be, if I have this crayon, then I want to make sure I have every color of the crayon box so that it's diverse.
But see, that's the thing. That's just not how society works. That's not how American society has worked, ever. It's always been the white crayon has been the best crayon. And that's why right now you have things against critical race theory, where even in Idaho right now, they don't even want to discuss their Indian race. The Indian people in Idaho, Wyoming, these places deserve to have them children learn about how the people in that land deserve to have a discussion.
Wait, you're talking about Indians?
Yes, Indians. Critical race basically eliminates all that. It basically tries to cut it down to George Robert Lee was a soldier and he fought because he wanted taxes. He didn't like taxes. And it's like, no, there's historical context, which is why it's important to have African American history to understand historical context. If you don't have the historical context, then you don't really understand how, like, for instance, in Texas, the tax or the auditor is in charge of the voting. The reason
Your
why
camera is really blurry.
I'm sorry,
It keeps playing back out. I don't know.
I know, and I don't know why. I changed my whole setup and it got crazy. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is that because Texas has the voting tied towards taxes, because that was a direct attack towards blacks getting taxes or blacks voting. They wanted to do the voting tax. So that's why tax auditors are in charge of the voting. So that's why it's important to have historical context, because if you just say, oh, well, we were all equal after 1865, that's not historically correct. You get what I'm saying? So there is historical context. So I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing this.
Now you're messing up my camera too. Go, you back. You gotta go. No, I'm joking. Thank you so much for being here. And I do appreciate you. I wish that maybe one day we have the actual conversation. Maybe when there's more time, we can have a deeper conversation into this.
Well, like anybody else, I'm a content creator. You're always invited, maybe if some people would allow it, but I'd be more than happy to.
The powers that be.
The man.
Oh, thank you, E-Black. Thanks for being here. And fix your camera.
I'm gonna try to fix it. I don't know what happened. I was doing good for a month.
It's such a good camera. It's such a good camera.
I keep pressing buttons.
I said that's how you fix it, by pressing buttons.
Take care.
Thank you, E-Black. Take care. Good night. Okay. To focus, huh? Sorry, guys. I know my camera sucks. Like, compared to E-Black's camera, oh my god. But you guys, so much for joining me for this conversation, and I appreciate everyone's opinion on this matter. And I think I just want to hopefully not talk about this again, and we can move forward on the actual discussions of the channel of week and day and hour. So right. So thank you all for joining me, and I appreciate all of your input. I appreciate the backlash. I appreciate the support. I appreciate everything that you guys are giving to me. That's why I'm here, and I'm open to learning. I'm open to being wrong. And anything that I might be wrong in, just feel free to email, comment, anything. I'm here and I'm open. So thank you for joining me on this talk about my racism. And I guess with that, I yield my time, guys. Bye.